Hello there, you beautiful people. Now, the terminal is a very powerful tool that is designed to allow you to issue what are known as commands to your computer. Now, the idea is that the computer will obey these commands, we hope, and make stuff happen as a result. Now, in this video, you're going to learn how to issue your first commands, which is very exciting. But as an aside, this course is structured so that each section of the course has its own cheat sheet that you can grab at the end of the section. So don't worry about memorizing all the commands or rushing down to take notes. Just try out the commands that I show you in your own virtual machine or on your own computer, and rest assured that everything is all jotted down for you in the cheat sheets that you can get at the end of each section. So that's awesome, right? So by the end of this video, you will have ran a bunch of Linux commands, and you'll start to see a pattern emerging in how Linux commands work. So this is going to be a very important lecture. It's going to give you that foundation. It's going to help you understand what everything is all about. So let's go ahead and jump into it. Okay, so the first thing we're going to want to do is to open up our terminal. Now, as a quick challenge, let's see if you can remember how to do that. Go ahead and see if within about 5 seconds or so, you can open up the terminal. You can do it using either graphical methods, or if you're feeling particularly pro already, use the keyboard shortcut you learnt in the last video. So you've got 5 seconds, give it a go. Did you get it? Well, if so, well done, you're learning already. Now, I'm going to open up the terminal using the keyboard shortcut, which is Control, Alt, and T. And ta-da, there's the terminal popped up. Now, I'm going to do it like that for most of the time from now on, so don't be confused if you see terminal windows popping up all over the place as we go through the course. I'm just using the keyboard shortcut. But to make the text a bit easier to read on the recording, I'm just going to hit View and click Zoom in. We'll make the font just that much larger, okay? So that should make it a bit easier for you to read when I type stuff. But now that our terminal window's open, let's run a fun command called echo. Now, the echo command just prints out what you give it as an input. So type with me the following command. We're going to type echo, okay, then press space, and we're going to type the word hello. Now, when I press enter, I'm going to say to the computer, okay, actually run this command. And when I press enter, we see hello come out to the computer. So that's pretty cool. Let's try that again, okay? We're going to say echo, then type echo with a load of O's, okay? Then I'm going to press enter, and what comes back is echo. How awesome is that? It's just like a cave. So let's try now with another command called cal. So that's echo. Let's try with another command called cal, and cal is going to show up a calendar on the screen. So if we type cal, just like that, and press enter, you can see that we get a calendar for the current months, with today's date also highlighted. And now I'm doing this in October 2017. When you're watching this and doing it yourself, it may be a very different month, but you get the point. You type cal, the default behavior is that you get the current month with the current day highlighted. But that's just the default behavior of the cal command. Okay, now what makes Linux commands interesting is how you don't have to stick with the default behavior. You can actually customize the behavior of commands to exactly what you want them to do. So for example, what if I wanted the calendar not just for the current month, but for the current year? Well, what I could do, first of all, I could type cal, then 2017, and I could press enter, and it's going to give me the entire calendar for 2017, and also it's going to highlight the current date. So that's pretty cool. With very little typing, we got a lot more result out of that, right? But you can also give each command something called an option. Now, an option is something that allows you to customize the behavior of the command. Okay, so I could type cal, and instead of typing 2017, I could just type -y. Now, this would give the cal command the y option. Now, if I press enter, we also get the calendar for 2017. So you can see here cal-y gave us the calendar for 2017, again highlighted with the current date. So you've just seen two ways that you can customize a command's behavior. You can give it input, and you can give it options, and we're going to be going into a lot more detail about the difference between the two and how they work, but you may be curious at the moment as to what other ways you can customize commands, but I'm going to save that goodness until later. At the minute, I just want to give you a little bit of an overview of some different commands that you can use on Linux, so you can get comfortable with the typing and pressing enter and seeing result come back up on the screen. Okay, so let's move on and take a look at another one. For example, you can see today's date using the date command. So if we type date and press enter, we see that we get today's date and time zone and year pop up Okay, so that's pretty cool. It's quite a useful command. But at the moment, you can see that we've got quite a lot of text in our terminal. Things are starting to get a bit messy. We can clean that up a bit as well. So to do that, we can use the clear command. If we type clear and press enter, it's like we just cleaned up our workspace, and there we are. We've removed all the text from the screen. Now, because the clear command is used so often, there's a keyboard shortcut for it. Okay, so if I just type echo and then put blah blah blah, okay, you can see we've got some text come out on the screen. The computer said blah blah blah, but we can also use a keyboard shortcut to clear the screen. And that keyboard shortcut is you press Control and the letter L. And there we are, we've cleared the screen. Now that's the way that I'm going to be doing it, because it's a lot faster and it's a lot easier than typing out the clear command every time. But you feel free, you do you. Just understand that if the terminal is all of a sudden having all its text vanish, that's what I've done. I've just cleared the screen. Okay. Now we've entered quite a few commands already. So what if you wanted to enter a command that you've entered previously without having to, type it out again? Maybe it was a particularly long command, we don't know. But what you can do is you can hit the up arrow key on your keyboard. So if I press the up arrow key, we see echo blah blah blah, tops back up. If I press up again, it's going to go clear. And again, we see date, again we see cal, and so on. Okay, so you can keep pressing up and cycling backwards through the commands that you've already run, which is very, very useful. But you can also look at your whole command history using what's called the history command. So if you type history and press enter, we can see all of our previous commands with the line number associated with them. For example, we can see the line number for our echo command, which is the number 1, let's say. So there we are, the line number is number 1. And to run that, what you could do, instead of having to cycle all the way back up to number 1, like that, what I could do is I could type the exclamation mark and then 1. Okay, so exclamation mark on 1, and you can see that we've run echo hello. Okay, so let's have a look again. Let's have a look at our history again. We see now, let's say we want to run echo blah blah blah. The line number for that is 8, right? So if I press the exclamation mark and press 8 and then press enter, we see we get echo blah blah blah. So you can see that that's a bit of a shortcut to save you going back through potentially hundreds of commands that you've run, and you can run them a bit easier like that. Okay. If you want to run the most recent command that you've done, you can just press exclamation mark, and again we see echo blah 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 has run again. Now this history file can get quite long, so if you want to clear the history, it's kind of a two-step process. You can type history and give it the C option, okay, then add a semicolon, then type history and give it the W option. Okay, so what that does is it clears the history and then actually writes those changes and makes them permanent. So when we do that, and I've just cleared the screen, and we look at history, we can see that all we've got is just the history command that we literally entered. So that's something for reference for you. It's not particularly important, but you've got it in this video if you want to refer back to it. Okay, now finally, let's say we want to close the terminal. Okay, well, to do that, we could of course click the X button at the top right over here, but you can also type the exit command and make yourself, just look that much more pro. Okay, so if we press exit, we can see that the terminal has now closed, and also you could of course use the Control D keyboard shortcut. So if I press Control and D, we can see that the terminal is also closed as well, like I showed you in the last video, and that allows you to type commands, operate the terminal, and also close it without ever having to take your hands off the keyboard. So there you have it. You've jumped right in and have now ran a whole bunch of Linux commands inside the terminal. So well done, you've got your feet wet and we're moving. As I mentioned to you, you can get a cheat sheet which covers all of the commands that we've covered in this video and all the other commands that we're going to cover in this section of the course at the conclusion lecture of this section. But the use case of these commands that we've covered in this lecture may not be completely clear at this point, and that's okay. I wasn't trying to teach you all, like a whole bunch of commands in one video. What I wanted to get across in this video is that commands are executed by typing some weird text in the terminal and pressing the enter key. You've also seen that commands can be, they can do a whole lot of different things, and they can also be customized for different behavior. But they all seem to follow a similar kind of structure. Okay, you type some text, maybe you've got some options, maybe you've got some input, and you press enter. Now, being able to understand that structure is of incredible importance to mastering the Linux operating system and leveraging the power of the terminal. So in the next video, I'm going to show you how commands are structured in Linux. And what we're going to cover next will serve as a critical foundation for pretty much everything that we're going to learn going forward, and pretty much everything that you will ever learn when you're using Linux. If you've used Linux before but never really felt as though you got it, or you felt that some stuff was missing in your understanding, it's probably because you weren't shown what I'm about to show you next. And if you're new to Linux, this is going to be the best place to start to make sure that everything goes smoothly and you start to see the pattern of how the Linux operating system and the commands are designed, rather than just memorizing a massive list. So for that super important stuff, I'll see you in the next video.